Former Nissan head Carlos Ghosn is slamming the Japanese justice system after he fled the country where he was awaiting trial for financial crimes. Ghosn spoke to reporters at a press conference in Beirut yesterday and criticized the conditions of his detention in Japan. This image reportedly shows the box where Ghosn had hidden in during the escape. It's for a container for a musical instrument. Charlie D'Agata has been following the story, and he joins us from Beirut. Sorry, Charlie. Was yesterday's press conference the first time that we've seen Ghosn since he fled Japan?
Hey, Anne-Marie, not the first time we've seen him. He actually showed up here at this mansion having dinner with his wife on New Year's Eve. It's the first time we've heard from him telling his story in his own words. He spent most of the time protesting his innocence.
I did not escape justice. I fled injustice.
An injustice he insisted portraying himself as a victim, left with no option but to mount an audacious escape.
I had spent the previous months being interrogated for up to 8 hours a day without access to the evidence that justify this travesty against my human rights and dignity.
The saga of the former Nissan Titan's spectacular fall from grace is rivaled only by his great escape. He refused to go into detail about a run for it that reads like a Hollywood plot, slipping by 24-hour surveillance from house arrest in Japan, reportedly smuggled out in this box made for musical equipment on private charter planes through Istanbul.
I was numb. I numbed myself. I had no feeling. I try not to have feeling, because when you have feeling, you're in danger when you are in a situation like this.
Eventually, he turned up here at this multi-million-dollar mansion in one of Beirut's wealthiest neighborhoods, where he hasn't exactly been able to escape the public eye. We're expected to see him come out at any moment.
Even now, pursued like a celebrity by the paparazzi. He was hailed the savior of Nissan when he pulled the carmaker back from the brink of bankruptcy in the late 1990s.
I am used to what you call Mission Impossible. I've been into many Mission Impossible. When I went in Japan in 1999, everybody told me, it's impossible.
The rock star chairman happily hobnobbed with the global elite in places like the Davos summit. But when profits began to plummet in 2018, executives accused him of bankrolling a lavish lifestyle with a clandestine compensation to the tune of $85 million. He was arrested and charged with financial wrongdoing. In a country with a 99% conviction rate, he says he never stood a chance.
I would be ready to stand trial anywhere where I think I can have a fair trial. Anywhere.
All right, such a remarkable press conference, and it's really fitting that he would say Mission Impossible, because this whole thing sort of plays out like a movie screenplay. It doesn't seem real. Have we heard from Japan at all on this whole thing?
Yes, almost immediately, Japan's justice minister called Ghosn's statements absolutely intolerable and accused him of calling into questions Japan's legal system. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff happening here outside his house. Called into question Japan's legal system and saying that Japan has always been supportive of human rights, and it's unacceptable that Ghosn would suggest otherwise.
Well, yeah, the streets are rather tight back there. I don't want you to get run over because I still have a few more questions. There was this issue, this issue with Japan's very high conviction rate, and it is very high, as a low crime rate, high conviction rate. Can you give us a sense of just how Ghosn's detention fits into the larger picture of the Japanese justice system? Because, when I read about his escape, it had occurred to me that what he is accused of, had it happened here in the U.S., he probably would not have been treated anywhere near as harshly.
Well, that is his argument in a nutshell. He said that he had no choice but to leave because he didn't feel that he was going to get a fair trial, if he got a trial at all. He said, in his words, he thought he was going to die in a Japanese jail. And when you said that high conviction rate, pick a number, more than 99% conviction rate, which suggests that prosecutors in Japan are either really, really good at their jobs, at what they're doing, or perhaps everybody isn't getting the kind of fair trial that they would want. Having said that, you know, there hasn't been a lot of heat on Japan internationally. For want of a better word, they have what you would consider a Western justice system. And I think that's where the Japanese, who are already embarrassed and humiliated, that this man was able to give authorities and police the slip under 24-hour surveillance, house arrest, get to the airport and be smuggled out in a music box with holes. Japan doesn't come off looking very good with that alone, but then to have their justice system raked over the coals from Ghosn, which is what he did for almost 2 hours, saying he couldn't talk to his wife, he couldn't talk to his lawyers, he didn't feel like he was going to get a fair trial. Well, now we've got Lebanon and Japan with this order from Interpol. Ghosn cannot leave this country. So we're sort of in a hold pattern here, and this story hasn't played out yet.
Because that's what I was going to ask you, because I thought, you know, this is a guy who clearly, we saw in your story, is used to, you know, hobnobbing around the world with wealthy people. Is he going to be satisfied staying put? And is there a possibility that he could be extradited back to Japan?
Well, I don't know how much that home you can see. That's his mansion. I mean, he could do plenty of hobnobbing here in Lebanon. And remember, he is Lebanese. He's considered a local national hero here. So he's sort of been embraced, and the Lebanese government has made very clear that when he arrived here anyway, he did arrive here legally. So he's involved at very high levels with the Lebanese government. He's revered here. So it's not a bad place to be stuck for him. But yes, he is an international businessman. I'm sure he still has those sort of aspirations. He won't want to be locked down here. And he said himself, as I may have pointed out in that story, that he wants to stand trial. He just doesn't want to stand trial in Japan. He has suggested possibly France as sort of a third party.
All right. Well, the world is watching, because it is quite a tale. Charlie D'Agata, thank you.